Amongst my collections of dream journals, there is a codex named the Red Diaries. A recent entry in this collection reveals the fragmented story of a game. Its parameters bend, the abstract and arcane. And if your voice becomes you before you become your voice, you sleep forever. It's a game of the intrinsic mind. The two players the diarist describes, the generator and the discriminator, one hides through layered emanations it produces, the other swims through familiarity and doubt. And even your voice seeks to betray you. Welcome to Doomsday, where we discover the lost pages of dreams, journals, and allow the mind to run wild. Though the story itself is incomplete, the pages being destroyed or missing, one can piece the game together with an adjustment of thinking. We open to a young female author named Philomela who begins this journey at home during winter break. She admits the time while away has been productive, with what she refers to as the little fictions flowing freely. A wide-eyed boy talks to the sun and they become friends. The boy is sad he cannot look at his friend for too long. The sun tells him he does not need vision to feel his warmth. Yet each story is recipient of her apathy, from the way she describes the dull blankness of snow outside her window, the colorless frost of winter. Truly, the paleness of ennui has befallen her, where no color shall escape, and all fades into obscurity. After this dream recording, the narration aggressively shifts into a series of buzzing sounds. Whoos, yees, woos. Most would assume some type of translational disruption in the extraction process of this entry. However, if we were to employ these same sounds through vocal exercises, we come to find they are indicative of phonetic mantras to introduce a state of meditation, as such used in sacred chants and used in certain occult rituals. I speculate this phonetic humming is the ritual which evokes the necessary domain of consciousness, further leading us directly into the context of the game, as the next page introduces two spheres, the upper clearly dominating the lower domain. Though the text is difficult to comprehend due to the text layered over top one another like stacked transparencies, you almost get a sense that something is trying to climb, or the diarist encouraging something to climb out. Wild. After this, we get a single fragment, its only word consensus, meaning agree, feeling it together, literally consent. The next page opens with dialogue from Philomela. The distant star vibrates a familiar voice. Philomela draws nigh. Truly understand this is not an artistic flourish. This is the diarist literally running from her voice. Thus, we conclude that she sought consent within herself to partition herself in twain. One part her body, the other her voice. We also come to know these two parts aptly named the generator and the discriminator. You yourself operate as the generator, tasked with creating, generating, and emanating thoughts unknown. These are essentially non-existent nouns and pronouns like form, color, structures. Your voice, rather the discriminator, identifies these unknowns as known by dissecting what is and what is not. You may ask, but how can one know what they know not? Let me pose this question. Are there faces in the clouds? If you and I were to trace our sight around the many shapes that make up cloud formations, partitions in your brain begin to work in tantamount to articulate a structure of familiarity. The brain doesn't like the unknown. You might see the picture of a dog, while I may see a penguin wearing a pirate hat. because why not? It's not exactly something new per se, but an amalgamation of shapes, colors, and objects. The role of the discriminator is to call your bluff, as to say, this too is known, by dismantling the components of what is from what is not. We only learn of one of these new structures in a panel. The generator constructs the color it from the epignometic thought, pushing them away from the location of the discriminator from a great many distances. It's said that the distance is so great that her location proceeds past the foundation of dreams into the many darknesses themselves. Yes, the many darknesses themselves. A terrifying revelation. The darkness, true darkness, has agency. We only learn of one of these many darknesses in a panel where Philomela begins her ascension into the heights, and this is how the viewer is meant to read this entry: as above, so below. We see everything through Philomela's perspective momentarily. She recalls the time her grandmother told her to find a star in the sky and name it. She names it Thelema, the first power. The star then shoots across the sky, and her grandmother tells her to make a wish. She remembers the wish and realizes that it came true. Thus, she is the star she wished upon. She has found her true name from inside of her, from a wish. We are not told if this is the true purpose of the game, or if this is a reward mechanism, let alone what the true power consists of. However, this is the first indication of how the external world aligns with the mechanisms of the internal self. She encounters a threshold of uninhibited imagination, seeing not structures of substance, but objects in their abstract form. These objects are not physically manifest, yet representation of objects already known. We have to recall the role of the generator is to create that which is not from essentially what is. We see her going back to the source of the ontological thought. We are not told explicitly how she is able to comprehend this space of abstraction, yet she manifests as many living worlds, articulating what she refers to as the many. Suddenly, Philomela expands her consciousness back into an image of herself. It is revealed that the umpteenth darkness obstructs her expansion into this abstract space, it acting as a kind of gatekeeper. The umpteenth darkness is represented by what seems like a sigil composed of three-dimensional quadrilaterals. Truly, does the darkness not only have agency, but also hold sigils themselves. We find not what happens to Philomela after entering this darkness, or if she was able to overcome it. This is why you don't look directly into the dark. It's not merely the darkness that looks back at you. No, 'tis the many that seek you out. More of these darknesses in later videos. We come to find that the game takes place over a vast cosmology of the mind. These spaces cover vast regions of dreaming surpassing the limits of known and even comprehension. Somehow unknown to the reader, Philomela navigates the vast distances, propelled by the invisible oscillations. It seems that the discriminator is not the only obstacle to be aware of. There are others that lurk in the distances, or as Philomela proclaims, the heights. The discriminator dissembles the false color, identifying it as the colors red, blue, and trace yellow. Upon this dismantling of the imagination, so to speak, this opens a path directly to Philomela, who is now exposed to the discriminator. We lose much of the events that transpire next, yet we find Philomela trapped in distant space of active participant dreamers, and now the discriminator is in pursuit. At this point, Philomela races from one dream to another, shifting aimlessly through the many sleeping dreamers. It is also noteworthy of the severity of a line not earlier detailed in the text, as she states, "And if my voice finds me within reason, I too shall sleep in motionless darkness." and my body shall become my coffin. My God. The implication is a stark warning to those who seek to play this game. If your voice becomes you before you become your voice, you sleep forever. From psych to soup. In this same page, we learn that Philomela is in dire need of escape from the discriminator as it closes in. She enters into the room of one who is said to sleep deep, only to find herself looping in the same thought space or dream bubble repeatedly. She notices at first small items begin to vanish. At first it's a vase, then a chair, then a table, and lastly a window. She realizes the discriminator's employment of familiarity is infinite, identifying all things, identifying the possibilities of where she hides. In the last fragment of the recorded entry, we learn that she ascends above the heights of the dreaming, outside the realm of those who sleep in dream time, finding a type of dermis covering dreams themselves. The use of the word dermis implies that dreams themselves are organic in nature, vulnerable, delicate, assuming even that they too can bleed. Truly, what can one such as I, unbounded by imagination, dream with this knowledge? Some things are best left to fantasy. Only by the assistance of a third-party intervention known as the left was she able to rise out of the ensnarement and able to proceed above, escaping captivity. How this occurs either by ritual prayer, rebellion, or just plain luck are all left to interpretation. Sadly, we learn not of Philomela's fate, if she was able to overcome the pursuit of the discriminator or taken. What is clear is that entering into dreams is not for the faint of heart. I'm John M., and you've been watching Doomsday.